Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Are you sick of looking at Netflix and you don't know what to watch?
So many movies out there, you don't know which ones are good, which ones were bad.
You curious about what's out there?
I'm Joey Powers.
I'm Don Trettler.
This is The Best Pictures.
The ones you don't want to miss.
Hit it. Say hello to my little friend.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Winners go home as prom queen.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
I don't deserve this. Deserves got nothing to do with it. No sequel for you.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of The Best Pictures. I'm one of your hosts, Joey Powers.
Hey, and I'm Don Trettler. Welcome to the show.
Don't know why, but I just got kicked off box office, so I went to Amazon Music, so that's a good way to start.
And we're going to talk this week. We're gearing up for, what's it called? Furious X, which is going to be the 10th movie in the Fast and Furious chain. So Joey and I have been going back and rewatching some of the movies or watching them for the first time, some of the movies that we haven't seen, and getting acquainted with it before we actually go to the movie.
So Fast X did open this weekend. Number one, of course. I mean, I don't think that was a big surprise. $67.0 million, which is, in America, that's probably that's probably a little lower end than what it generally gets. But I showed you the text. I mean, it's already like 320-something million worldwide. It's definitely international driven, you know, so they could pretty much, I think we talked about last week, they could pretty much not even release it in America and still.
And people love it.
It'll still do well. I mean, the last one, I think it was the last one or The Fate of the Furious, I showed you, made like $240 million in North America and it made $1.2 billion worldwide. So it's like literally the North American release and all the money it makes pretty much makes its money back. And then overseas is where they make a killing. So, I mean, they've been promoting this as the last one, but if it's still going to keep making this kind of money, why stop?
Right.
Why stop? Like, seriously, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares about the plot, apparently. But like you said, like, what was it, 6 and 7? You said get over 7?
Yeah, I wrote down what they got rated on IMDb, and Fast 5 got 7.3, Fast and Furious 6 was 7, and Furious 7 was 7.1. So that's pretty good. I mean, when you elevate a movie, I mean, we basically talk about. I know we keep talking about this, but on IMDb, anything over a 6 is watchable.
Right.
And then it kind of goes up by the grades. I mean, some of the best and highest rated movies are kind of in the low 9s. Right. So that gives you kind of a range of what we're talking about. So 7 is these people really enjoyed that movie.
For this type of movie, that's pretty high.
Right.
You know, because, I mean, I don't know what Gone in 60 Seconds got, but there's no way that got over a 7. I've seen 1 through 7 minus, I've seen bits and pieces of Tokyo Drift. But the first one's my favorite. I really thought that was the best one of all the ones I've seen.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good movie. Now, I haven't seen, I saw 7, I remember when it came out. And I thought it was a pretty decent movie at the time. I'll have to watch it again. But these movies are rated above the original one, which was 6.8, which I thought was a little surprising. So they took it up a notch. Again, I find that hard to believe, to be honest with you.
I do too. I don't think they were that good. Like I said, I just watched Fast and Furious, which was the first one back with Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, and I liked it a lot more the first time I watched it than when I did the second time. Yeah. The second time, I don't know what it was, but it got old fast, I thought. You know, like, I don't know, the plot wasn't great, I didn't think, and I don't know. I mean, it wasn't a bad movie. I'm glad I watched it, but
Right, that's kind of how I felt between The Fast and the Furious and then Fast and Furious, which was the second one teaming Vin Diesel and Paul Walker.
Back together, right?
And I thought that one was weak compared to the first one.
Yeah.
I really just didn't have much of a plot. I felt like they developed a plot to tie the action scenes together, basically.
Exactly, just to make money. And it worked, obviously, because they're still making money today.
But the first one was interesting.
The first one was good.
Kind of introduced the characters and everything, and I thought it was, pretty interesting. It's not the greatest movie I've ever seen, but it's an entertaining movie.
And the thing is, the two leads in that, they were not household names when that came out. That's kind of what kickstarted both of their careers. I think Vin Diesel's biggest role at the time was probably Boiler Room. And Paul Walker had been in Varsity Blues, but he was also in She's All That. But neither one were he was not the star of either movie.
That's
so this
true.
is really the first movie where they're both the star. And it was a big hit.
Right. I'd have a tough time naming other movies that these were in. I mean, I know Vin Diesel was in Triple X?
Triple X.
And what's the one about the sci-fi and he's
Pitch Black.
Pitch Black.
Yeah. I haven't seen those. I've seen a few Vin Diesel. He's in this one movie called A Man Apart that he was praised critically for, but it didn't make a lot of money, but it was actually a pretty good movie. He was a cop, and it came out right around, I think, the second Triple X that he wasn't in, that Ice Cube was in. I think it came out around the same time as that. It wasn't a bad movie. He was in this movie Knockaround Guys, which was kind of like a mobster movie type deal,
right? Which
wasn't bad. Had a good cast, but
interesting tidbit: Vin Diesel and I share a birthday.
Not the same year, but the same day.
Pretty close. I think he's a little younger than I am, a few years.
Just a quick rundown though. Guardians finished second, $32 million. It's pretty good holdover. It's up to 267, I would say, $1 million. Mario in third, $9.6 million, $550 million domestic. Number 4 was The Book Club, The Next Chapter, with $3 million for total cube of $13 million. In top 5, Evil Dead Rise, 2.4, with a respectable $65 million domestically now.
It's hanging on, yeah.
It is. And one movie of note, Hypnotic, Ben Affleck's newest one. 8th with $815,000, already down 66% from last weekend to $4.05 million.
Right.
So that didn't. I don't know what it is. Like I said, it gets 5.7 on IMDb. You would think Ben Affleck, Robert Rodriguez together, that would draw some people in with the two names.
Right. Yeah.
Apparently not.
Well, they also didn't put it on a lot of screens.
No, it was like 21 or 2200 screen. It wasn't a big release. So. Like here, Guardians is still at 4,500. Fast X is at 4,000. So Mario's still at 3,500. So it wasn't a big wide release. So.
Well, we're in a place up here where we live where we're not going to get. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of peripheral and it's not going to get released.
Yeah.
Like you and I had to wait, at least a good month to see Banshees of Inisherin.
And I think the Fablemans too, right?
Probably, yeah. Fablemans didn't open here.
And that's a Steven Spielberg movie. You
right.
know, we still had to wait. Because I think Keen finally got it, but they didn't open it, right? I think we had to wait to...
Right, I don't think they did open it.
No. And the Banshees took a while. And that was like the smallest screen that Springfield has, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it was packed because it only holds like 8 people. But it's too bad because I still think that was maybe not better than Top Gun, but other than that, I think that was the best movie of the year.
Right.
And it's just a shame that not a lot of people get to see it.
Well, I think, what's interesting, I guess we're starting to get the hang of this now, is that the family that owns the Springfield Cinemas and the Keene Cinemas, the Free family, right? They get some of those movies. They didn't get Banshees, but they got like The Whale. They got the Tom Hanks movie that we saw.
A Man Named Otto. Otto, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yep.
They got those, and then they kind of run them.
That's still playing.
They hang on to it.
I noticed on their website that's still playing. I forget. Was it Keen that it was playing at?
Probably.
I don't think they got it at Bolt, but I'm pretty sure it's still playing. Because we saw Top Gun, I want to say in like September of last year, and it opened Memorial Day weekend, and it was still playing. And still doing well. I think it was still in the top 10 when we went to see it. It was one of those things that was just absolutely crazy.
So that's one of the nice things is they'll hang on to them, but they'll play them at matinees and off times and things like that. So you kind of have to reorganize your schedule to see them and everything. But it's nice that they're out there and able to see them.
Well, you still want to see was it Tenet? Is that what it's called?
I did, yeah. They were hanging on to that for a while.
Did you ever end up getting to see it? Because that's only a matinee, right? Like one day a week. It's like a matinee, like a middle of the day.
But I noticed the library has it.
Oh, they do?
I can take it out of the library.
That's good. Because what's the other one that's coming out? Oppenheimer.
Right.
That looks good. We got some good ones coming out this summer.
Oh, yeah. So coming up, since you brought it up,
Yeah.
we've got this coming weekend, Little Mermaid is the big
Yep.
the big
Big
opening.
release. Yep.
There's a movie called The Machine. But
I've seen the previews for that. Who's in that?
the guy from Star Wars.
Yeah, not a big name.
Luke. Who's the guy that plays Luke in Star Wars?
Oh, yeah. Mark Hamill. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Hamill was the big name, the one that I
Yeah,
recognized.
yeah. It looks terrible.
It had something to do with this guy went on a college trip into to Russia, and he must have screwed some mobsters or something. So 20 years later, they come back to get him.
It sounds terrible, too.
And it's a yeah. And then About My Father, which has Robert De Niro.
We were talking about that last week. That's this coming weekend, too?
That's just this weekend too. It's supposed to be open. This is according to IMDb. It's supposed to be opening up, and I don't know. It's kind of like, I don't know. Robert De Niro's an old school Italian, and he meets his son's fiance's family, who, I don't know. Haven't we seen that plot before?
I was going to say, it sounds very familiar, like that's been done many times before, I'm sure.
So it's kind of like that, not super exciting. The next weekend we have Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay, yep.
Spider-Man Across the
That'll
Spider-Verse.
do well.
And it also opens The Boogeyman, which I've seen promoted several times.
I've
It's,
seen that, too, yeah.
written by Stephen King, directed by, or something. It has something to do with Stranger Things. Producers, directors.
I've seen the
something like
preview for it. It looks decent.
that. Yeah, it looks like it could be good. The following weekend is Transformers,
That looks terrible.
Rise of the Beasts.
That looks absolutely terrible. I will not see another Transformer. I gave up. I forget. I think after 2, I gave up on Transformers. Those movies suck so bad.
I don't think I've seen any of the
I
Transformers.
saw 2 in the BF theater, and I regretted it because it was so long, and they end up like in Egypt or something, at like the Great Pyramids and stuff. I was like, this Michael Bay. I don't care. It's just so stupid, but they make so much money that people keep going to see them.
That's probably going to be the same thing, like overseas, right? They're going to make a lot of overseas money. May not do as well here.
I mean, the first 2 in North America did very well. The first one, I think, opened #1 the year it came out. I think it was 2006. It was 2007 maybe, #1 movie. The first one wasn't terrible. The second one was pretty bad. And I don't even know how many there are. I think Mark Wahlberg got in one of them at one point. So, I mean, it's just, it was a nightmare.
And then on the 16th, June 16th, The Flash, speaking of Ben Affleck,
Right.
he was the top name in the Flash movie,
Right.
which opens the same weekend as Pixar's Elemental.
I think they're putting Ben Affleck's name as the top name because I don't want anyone associating Ezra Miller with the Flash right now.
Yeah.
So... But no, that's seriously. This weekend's really starting the kickoff of the summer blockbusters,
right?
Because like every weekend coming forward, what's after the Flash?
I'm kind of excited. The following weekend after that is Asteroid City,
which has a huge cast,
which is Wes Anderson.
Yeah, it's got a huge cast. Like everybody's in that movie,
right?
And then leads up to Indiana Jones,
right?
And then Mission Impossible. So I mean, like every weekend moving forward, there's going to be one huge blockbuster after another. So this is really...
I'm surprised that the movie that's opening opposite that is No Hard Feelings with...
Jennifer Lawrence.
I
lied and said I don't want to see that in the theater. I kind of do after seeing the preview a couple times. It does look kind of stupid funny. Like, that's something like if BF were to get it, like, in its 4th or 5th week, I would go see it. Just because it does look kind of funny. Still questioning why she's in a movie like that, but... I mean,
knows?
I looked at, like, 2016, she made more money than any female actress in the world. From all the Hunger Games, and she had won the Oscar for Silver Linings Playbook. She was getting roles handed to her left after hand over hand.
Right.
Like American Hustle she was in. She was nominated for an Oscar for that.
I'm going to have to research this. I'm going to have to research this and find out why is she fallen from grace, because I thought she was a good actress.
Well, she was in the one with, what was it called? Don't Look Up? Is that what it's called?
Right,
with Leonardo DiCaprio. And like a huge cast in that movie.
Right.
And that was that David O. Russell? I
think it was.
It was a famous director, and it's like, and now she's in this. It just looks like and it's rated R too on top of it, so it's, I don't think it's like a romantic comedy. I think it's like a raunchy. It just surprises me. Someone that was that big and that famous is doing something that just seems kind of low rent to me.
Right.
She
did have that movie. What was it called? Red Sparrow. I think it was about, she was a Russian spy, and that didn't do very well.
But that at least seems like more like.
Seems more like something she would do
than something like this.
Right.
So And it's too bad because she's a pretty good actress. I mean, I just watched Passengers recently, and I really liked that movie, actually.
I didn't get that this week. I ended up from the library, instead of taking Passengers, which was on my mind, I got a movie called Olive Kittredge with what's her name? She's married to one of the Coen brothers.
Frances McDormand?
Frances McDormand.
Anything with her is worth watching.
That's what I thought. So I took that one.
Best actress of her generation, without question. What's she have? Three Oscars for Best Actress?
Well, she's got 2. She's got Fargo. Maybe you're right.
No, I think she has 3 because she got Billboard. She won,
right,
and then she won Nomadland.
Yeah.
So she has 3 lead actress Oscars. That's pretty impressive. That's more than Meryl Streep has. Because one of Meryl Streep's is a supporting actress.
Right.
So that's saying something. It's pretty impressive.
One of these days they'll go up against each other. I bet they probably already have.
They probably have. I mean, Meryl Streep's been nominated like 76 times. So, I mean, they must have gone up against each other once. But no, Frances McDormand, Fargo, I haven't seen Nomadland.
I haven't either.
Did you say the library has it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because I keep looking for that. That's one of the ones that I really want to see.
So this is way off topic of what we've been talking about. What's your favorite performance of her? Is it Fargo or is it 3 Billboards?
Oh, that's tough.
That's tough. That's really tough.
I really liked her in Fargo.
Yeah. I know. It's tough. She just nails. That's one of the roles. Nobody else could play that character like that.
Right.
That accent. It's not a funny movie, but it is funny. It's a serious topic, but it's funny. And I think she's the main reason it's funny because it's just how she talks and she's pregnant and stuff. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, I just threw up or I got a barf or what. It's just like, it's a very serious topic, but they make it like not serious at the same time.
Well, I was going to ask you off the top of your head too, like, because we were just talking about this week through text and stuff. We were talking about, I like Big Lebowski, another Coen Brothers movie,
right,
which I really enjoyed, but you didn't. And you brought up the other one,
Dogma,
which
I
loved.
And
I wasn't super
exactly
into it. But I said, I think it has to do with senses of humor.
Yeah.
I said,
absolutely.
I say this all the time, if we made a list of the top 10 scariest movies, we're going to have a big overlap. But if we talk about the funniest movies, it really has to do with people's senses of humor.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what do you think? What are some of the funniest movies that come to mind
like,
for you?
I personally, I'm not a Mel Brooks fan at all. Like, I don't think anything he's done is funny. Like, I won't watch anything Mel Brooks does. I don't think his humor is funny. Like Dogma, like that. I mean, that's drama comedy. I would say it's kind of a mixture of both. But I found that movie very funny. I like the characters in that movie. I like the story in that movie.
I may go back and watch it
the way
again,
it was
too.
written. But like, for example, you don't like Michael Keaton.
Right. I just have a hard time. I can't explain.
I really liked The Dream Team, and I really liked Multiplicity. Those are 2 of my favorite comedies, and he's the star of both of them. Have you even seen either one of them?
I don't think so.
No. The Dream Team's actually got a really good cast. You might actually like it. It's Michael Keaton, Christopher Lloyd, Peter Boyle, and Stephen Furst. They're 4 like mental institute patients that go out New York City with their doctor for a Yankees game, and the doctor gets attacked and kidnapped or whatever.
Oh, right.
And so they're roaming the streets of New York City. They're all off their medication and stuff. It's pretty funny. It's pretty entertaining.
Doesn't sound politically correct.
No. I don't know how that would play nowadays, I mean, there's a scene where Peter Boyle just walks in the middle of the church naked, just walking out acting all crazy and stuff. It's funny, but I don't know. I like that kind of stuff, I mean, like, I really like movies like Liar, Liar, like stuff like that, where you have an actor that just, like, is, like, completely over the top, but he's, like, dominating the whole movie. Like, I don't know, like, Jim Carrey was that way for a while with, like, that and kind of Dumb and Dumber, I feel.
Right.
Like, The Mask, I didn't really care for that. But I remember when I was in high school, it was when Jim Carrey was really big. One of my good friends in high school, he was like, I would prefer someone like Robin Williams, his comedy, to Jim Carrey's.
Huh.
And I was actually the opposite. I never really cared for Robin Williams' comedies as much. I liked Mrs. Doubtfire.
Right.
But in general, I like Robin Williams' serious stuff a lot more than I liked his funny stuff.
Oh, yeah, I definitely do, too.
Absolutely. I mean, Good Will Hunting is, to me, the best performance of his career. But he was really great in the Christopher Nolan one with Al Pacino, Insomnia.
Right.
He was really good in that. But as far as comedies, I don't know if I really have a style. Like The Big Lebowski, that's not mine.
Right.
I know that. I don't know.
I know it's kind of funny to say Coen Brothers because I enjoy the Coen Brothers. I think one of the funniest ones that comes to mind is Raising
Arizona, which I did like, So I don't know. I'm seriously the only person I know that did not like the Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
And it's not even that I didn't like it. I hated it. I couldn't even
Wow.
finish. The second time I tried watching it, I had to turn it off at about the same exact spot because I just couldn't get through it. I did not like that movie. And it gets like a 7.7 or 7.8.
Oh, yeah, people love
it's like a huge cult following.
Yeah, and what I've heard is people like it upon like multiple viewings. Like you don't like it as much the first time you see it, but when you watch it again and again, and then it starts to grow on you. So I don't know. Maybe you'll have to see it again. Maybe I'll have to see Dogma again someday. I like, off the top of my head, think about funny movies. Martin Scorsese's one of his, I don't know if he's had more than one comedy, After Hours with Griffin Dunn.
I haven't seen that.
I always thought that
Griffin
movie cracked me
Dunn.
up.
There's a name.
Yeah.
What was he in? He was in a movie with Madonna.
Right.
What was that?
Is that the one?
Who's that girl?
Chasing. Maybe it is Who's That Girl.
I don't remember, but that's what I remember him from is a movie with Madonna when Madonna was first becoming big, and I think that was actually that. What's the other one? After Hours? Is that what you said?
Right, After Hours.
That might be his biggest movie. I don't know. Is that pretty big?
I don't know. I don't know if it really was big. I just know that I really enjoyed it. I think that type of humor was really funny. I like Coen Brothers. They did a movie called A Serious Man, and I don't think it's a really funny ha-ha movie, but it cracks me up. It has its line deliveries. It's just some of the jokes. That movie I find funny. I like the Wes Anderson movies, though. Again, I don't know if they're really funny ha-ha either. I think they're amusing. And
I think a lot of his seem to be more drama comedy, though, like the Royal Tenenbaums, for example. I feel like that was kind of a combination of both, don't you think?
Right, yeah.
Like, I haven't seen that in a long time, but I remember laughing, but at the same time being like, this is a serious movie as well.
yeah, they don't really have like the gag type of laughs. Like
Right.
Farrelly Brothers.
Yeah.
Farrelly Brothers can pull off some stuff. Usually they have one good, real, like, gross out
Yeah.
gag in their
Yeah.
movies that kind of kills you.
Yeah, like in Champions. Remember the injury?
Oh, right.
Yeah, oh, that was so gross.
Or, I mean, I was thinking about like something about Mary where, there's
The zipper scene?
The zipper scene. I was thinking about the other one, about the hair gel scene.
That too. What about Dumb and Dumber with the tongue?
I haven't seen Dumb and Dumber, believe it or
Oh,
not.
really?
I've seen pieces of it. I've seen like the bathroom scene, and I've never sat down and watched that movie. Is that worth it? Is that worth
I liked it. I mean, I haven't seen it probably in 20 years, but that was like at the peak of Jim Carrey, like maybe being the biggest actor in the world for however long. Because
Right.
it was that. It was obviously Ace Ventura. It was The Mask. And then he did Liar Liar not too long after that. He was in Batman Forever. So he had a big string of really big movies for a little while. But I really like Dumb and Dumber. And it's weird because that came out the same time Speed came out. And you see Jeff Daniels in Speed, and then Jeff Daniels in Dumb and Dumber. And it's like just two completely, like a 180, complete 180.
Right.
But there's a scene in that where Jeff Daniels sticks his tongue to the chairlift. And it's like Lord Holly like pulling his head and his tongue is just stretching. Like it's hard to watch. It's gross, It's like
It's
God.
another gross out scene.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like some other.
Well, I was thinking it's not necessarily a style, but I really liked, and he doesn't do it anymore, Tom Hanks' comedy.
Yeah.
I really liked Big. I really liked, what was it, Punchline?
Right.
And
Punchline really wasn't a funny movie, though, was it?
Well,
it was about comedians.
It was about comedians, but it was a little more serious, I would say. But the one that sticks to my mind is probably my favorite comedy Tom Hanks is A League of Their Own. I watched that probably like 2 or 3. That's just like one of the go-to movies. Whenever I can't find something, I'll find it on one of the things. It's always streaming on something, so I don't have to look for the DVD.
It's on MLB. They've been advertising it, and it was supposed to be playing.
Don't doubt it. I mean, it's such a funny movie. He's so great as that,
Right.
washed up drunk, has been. But yeah, it's just,
I always thought like Peter Sellers as in the Pink Panther movies. Actually, he's funny in a lot of stuff.
I
But
still
Pink
can't
Panther-
believe the library doesn't have those. I really want to watch those.
We should get it as like a set. That would be pretty.
I looked it up. It's like $41 for 5 movies.
Wow.
Which isn't bad. It's a box set, so I think I might.
I wonder if we could find that. That's pretty interesting.
Well, I have it on Amazon. That's
I
where.
think who else? What other movies crack me up? You know what's funny is I went back. We talked about comedies in the past, and I went back and watched some of the movies that I thought were funny, like Mel Brooks, like Airplane, and they're not as funny as I remembered them
Right.
being when they came out. Maybe because I kind of know what I'm in for, because you've
Yeah.
seen them before, you know where it's going to go.
Right.
But yeah, I watched Blazing Saddles again, and I kind of thought, this isn't as funny.
Yeah, I saw that when I was a kid, and I didn't like it then. And I tried watching like History of the World Part 1 and didn't care for that.
Yeah.
And Robin Hood, Men in Tights, I didn't.
It's not good. I just bought that one.
I didn't like it, but I don't like Mel Brooks, so I mean.
Right. So maybe I'll enjoy it.
We are running out of time. So that went by pretty quick for not really having much of a topic to talk about.
No, so next week we should, maybe we'll be able to talk about Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
Though it might take us time to watch all the rest of the movies.
Yeah, because it probably will, because I still got to watch 2, and you got to watch 4 or 5.
And we think Bellas Falls might get it.
They're probably.
You said John Wick is going to be.
John Wick is playing this weekend, so they're not opening The Little Mermaid, which is what I thought they were going to do.
Right.
So.
And Joey and I saw John Wick. We thought it was really, really good.
I wanted to talk about it, but we'll talk about that next week.
Right.
So this has been our episode of The Best Pictures. I'm one of your hosts, Joey Powers.
Hey, and I'm Don Tretler. These are the ones you don't want to miss.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Here's Johnny. Go ahead. Make my day.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.